Okay, I'll call to order the tax budget public hearing. Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo.
Present.
Gerhardstein.
Here.
Jaworski.
He's here. He's having audio issues though.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, Koski.
She may be frozen.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it. Okay. Levon.
Here.
Sakis.
Yes, here.
Komodo.
Here.
Okay, does any, do we have that public notice? Do you want to speak anything on the public notice, Debbie?
I can just explain a little bit just for everybody. The tax budget is the first legally required step in the annual budget process. The tax budget represents the city's first estimate of anticipated financial resources and needs for the coming financial year. The primary purpose of the tax budget is to demonstrate to the Lake County Budget Commission that the city's need to levy property taxes for the coming fiscal year. For this reason, budgets are only presented for those funds in which property taxes are levied.
Does anybody on council have any discussion on this topic, on this tax budget? Seeing none, I'll open it up to audience participation. Would anybody in the audience like to speak on the 2022 tax budget? Would anyone else like to speak on the tax budget? If not, I'll mark audience participation closed and a motion for adjournment is needed.
Make a motion. Second.
Moved by Councilman Bogo, second by Councilman Sakis to adjourn the 2022 tax budget public hearing. Discussion. Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Koski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Sakis.
Yes.
Soloto.
Yes.
All right, we'll see everybody in about 10 more minutes. Okay, I called to order the Wickliffe City Council meeting of June 28th, 2021. Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Present.
Gerhardstein,
Here.
Jaworski,
Here.
Oski. Here. Levon,
Here.
Sakis,
Here.
Piloto. I know she was before.
Is she on? I saw her. She was on earlier.
I know she was. I don't see her on right now. Maybe she had to go. There's a couple people trying to come in and out, so. I'll let you know if I see her.
I will entertain a motion to allow Councilman Sekis to abstain from voting on the June 14th minutes.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Koski, seconded by Councilman Jaworski, to allow Councilman Sekis to abstain from voting on the June 14th council minutes. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Kosky,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Deloto. She's just coming in right now.
Go ahead, Sandy.
Maria, shall we ask her to vote on this then?
Yes, please.
Okay, Maria, we are voting on allowing Joe Sakis to abstain from voting on the minutes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Approval of council minutes.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Bogo, to adopt the council meeting minutes of June 14th, 2021 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Kosky,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Abstain.
Deloto.
Yes.
Reports and communications from the mayor, safety director.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. I emailed council last week regarding our Kimball contract. It's coming due in January. It's under new business A. So just trying to get ahead of things, I'd like to have a short discussion tonight so we can request bids this summer. Make sure council has plenty of time to review upon the return in September. The only issue I'm wondering, can we have an every other week pickup option for residents? I'm not sure. I've received several letters from the residents in the Johnson Estates area requesting sidewalks. I never really noticed before, there's no sidewalks up there on Johnson, Cabin, Clark, or Serenity. And quite a few letters. I'm not sure if this went to council as well. They sent a packet with letters signed by the residents. Obviously, a lot more young families in that area and walkers, and it seems to be becoming a safety concern in their view for many in the neighborhood. Also on Silver Street, as I mentioned a few weeks ago, Truline is requesting and willing to help pay for sidewalks on Silver Street, or there are currently none. The increased foot traffic there is becoming a safety concern. They have 3 lunch shifts, so it's spread out a little more. So I'd like to request that council place both items in the appropriate committee. I'd also suggest let's schedule committee meetings for September, if not sooner, so we can keep up the momentum. I do receive ongoing complaints regarding power outages on Anderson Road from a few business owners. Please let me know if you hear of other outages in the same area and other areas with persistent issues. First Energy doesn't seem to really have a clearly defined maintenance program. I think something needs to change. I'm going to be very focused and aggressive on this issue the remainder of the term and asking for council's help. Always please remind everyone you talk to, report outages every time, even if it's a temporary. Also communicate with you, and then please communicate with me as I'm talking with our city reps. We can try to just have a collected effort and hopefully get some results. Ordinance 2021-32 relates to vehicle leasing for next year. Shortages are still projected quite a ways out, so we're trying to get ahead of that problem for next year. I believe Service Director spoke to that last meeting. If not, he can expound during his report. I'll again stress the need to act tonight on the software needed for our finance department. The increased security risk itself is alarming and really shouldn't require further discussion. There's a reason we've increased the coverage on our cybersecurity insurance the last 2 years. Municipalities are targeted constantly. The upgrades to functionality for the user and the employee access is a huge perk as well. At our administrators meeting on Friday, Chief Ice mentioned he had spoken to Lieutenant Thompson, who, as many of you know, handles some of our IT. He is also concerned regarding the discontinuation of security patches. Finance Director Doles did also send a breakdown that shows the costs associated with payroll since 2009, the different ways it's been done. It clearly shows we're operating in the most economically efficient manner. And with that, council can obviously do what they feel is best, but now the above has been communicated during the past 2 meetings. My conscience will be clean if there are any security breaches as a result of not taking action. Thank you, sir. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the mayor, safety director? Thank you, Mayor. Reports and communications from the director of law.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just wanted to point out to council that pursuant to Rule 32 of council ordinance number 21-30, which goes to second reading tonight. That's pursuant to our rules of council. It was an emergency measure at the June 14th meeting, but it didn't receive the affirmative 2/3 votes of council. So now it's treated as if it had not been an emergency. So that is why it is on second reading tonight. That is all I have.
Any questions or comments for the law director? Thank you, Scott. Communications from the council president. I don't have any. Amendments or additions to the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to administrators. Police Chief Ice.
Thank you, Mr. President. The only thing I have to add in my report is I just, like council know, we had the bike rodeo on Saturday. We had a good turnout, 58 participants. We were able to give away a couple of bicycles and some helmets and some other things to the kids. I'd also like to thank Councilman Hartstein for showing up, and he assisted with directing traffic out of one of the obstacle courses. I'd like him to know that if he ever gives up his job as a mechanic, I got a job for him as a school guard. That's all that I would have.
Any questions or comments for the police chief? Councilman Gerstein.
Chief, could you give me a couple years on that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any further questions or comments for the police chief? Thank you, Chief Ice. Fire Chief Powers.
Thank you, Council President. This week we started civil service testing. As some of you may know, Captain Leovic is retiring in August. Pretty big shoes to fill. A guy that certainly has made this city safer for all of us. And we'll be replacing him along with the lieutenant as guys move up the chain. Also, last week I sent out the annual report to all of council, and I believe it's attached to the minutes tonight. So if anybody would like to see that or have any questions about it, please give me a call. And then finally, seeing as this is the last council meeting, scheduled council meeting before September 11th, we are having a 20th year anniversary of 9/11 on Saturday, September 11th, Liberty Gardens at 9 o'clock. Councilman Garhartstein's been leading the charge with this as he's seen the poor attendance every year for the past probably 10 or 12 years. So his support is greatly appreciated, as well as I know I have all of council support on this. So hopefully we'll get the word out and have a good attendance this coming September. That's all I have, Council President.
Any questions or comments for the fire chief? Thank you, Chief Powers. Finance Director Doles.
Thank you, Council President. I don't have anything to add to my written report. The mayor did mention the memo, so I'd encourage anybody, any of the council members, or to give me a call if you needed further information on that chart, and I'd be happy to discuss it with you. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the Finance Director? Thank you, Ms. Doles. Engineer Formica.
Thank you, Council President. Two things, Lakeland Boulevard Phase 1. Bids we're advertising right now. First advertisement was last Friday, so after the second, we'll be opening bids for that on June 9th. It's my plan that we'll be advertising for Roberts Street this Friday, and then we'll be able to open those bids on June 16th. The reason for the delay on Robert Street is Service Department did a great job of televising the sewers on both Lakeland Boulevard, and we just knocked out Robert Street, and we found a couple of severe sewer needs that we need to put in the plans to repair other, imminent collapse actually in a couple of spots. So we want to get those repairs shown on the plans so that that can be taken care of and we'll have a good road for the future. So endeth my report.
Hey, Pete, you said June 9th and June 16th. You're referring to July 9th and July 16th, correct?
Yes. Yeah. I need an extra
Okay.
month.
Right. Any questions or comments for the city engineer? Councilman Jaworski.
Pete, you said when bids will be open. When do you expect work to actually begin on both streets?
Probably with, once we award within 3 weeks of award. We set a completion date, Councilman Jaworski, of the end of October for Lakeland Boulevard. Even though our funding goes into 2022, I thought it was important that we want to get that wrapped up before the winter season. So we have that set up, and then for Robert Street, we'll do the same. They'll be able to knock that project like Robert Street out in 3 weeks. So
If the damage to the base on Lakeland is severe, do you think they would be able to get that done in time?
yeah, we've got 3. Yeah, not a problem. We called out for to dig it out and fill them with concrete, basically. So they dig it out, fill it with concrete, and we can pave over it a few days later. So for the base repairs.
Okay, so we're looking at a start then of, let's say, early to mid-August for Lakeland and mid to late August for Robert then?
That's reasonable.
Okay. Thank you, Pete.
Sure.
Councilman Garrettstein.
Pete, I don't know if this question is directed to you or Director Strauser. Did Warden Road lift up today on, I see the cones up and the road looks like it's up in the air.
It's been up in the air. Ron can answer this too. It's been up in the air for a couple of weeks now, actually. Ron and I were standing on it. What was that, Friday, Ron? It was like a trampoline.
It blew up again today, Pete. It's up about 8 inches now. Actually coned off a section of the road and closed it off. I'm heading northbound. I had to close that whole lane. I did inform the police department. They know about it. So we're going to have to make that, more urgent repair. If we can't do it as part of the joint repair, then we're going to do it in-house. But yeah, we're going to look at that more tomorrow. That actually just happened about 2:00 this afternoon. It got way worse.
Okay. Right, thank you.
Yeah. I just finished crunching the numbers. That's all can be within the budget for the slab repair program if we want to handle it through that. And we met with the contractor.
Yeah, if they can give us, timely wise, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll give him a call tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Any further questions or comments for the city engineer? Councilman Jaworski again.
Pete, is that something that we could add on to one of the contracts to save some money there?
Absolutely. Ron and I met with A&J Cement on Friday at that repair, and they said no problem. They do that basically at the same cost per square yard of doing the slab repair program that we're doing on Rush Road, on the south end of Rush Road there. We've got all that pavement marked up in spray paint, and we want to use up, we'll probably be coming to council for a change order. My numbers in front of me. In order to use up all of the grant money that we're getting a 50-50 grant money on that, $50,000 of city costs and $50,000 for of grant money, and our contract costs, it's a couple of thousand below the line. So if we bump that up, we're getting 50 cents on a dollar. We've done that in the past with our slab replacement programs, and we'll be processing a change order for that, for the extra couple $1,000.
Okay.
The city's responsible for.
Any idea why that particular slab or couple slabs is lifting?
Heat. Yes, concrete expands when it gets hot. And we actually had a similar problem about 15 years ago, probably another 100 yards south towards the bridge from where that slab's heaving. But for some reason, that stretch of concrete, when it starts getting warm, it expands. We get material in between the joints, little rocks and whatnot, and it can't move like it's supposed to, and it's got to go somewhere. So pops up.
Any other questions or comments for the city engineer? Thank you, Pete.
Thank you.
Service Director Strouser.
Thank you, Council President. I did want to address a couple of things today. A couple of meetings ago, Matt Jaworski asked me about the Kimball contract and if any other cities were having any other issues. So I did call around. I talked to people from Euclid, Willoughby, Willowick, Eastlake, and a few other things. I actually talked to a few directors of the actual rubbish contract people, and they are all having issues. It does seem to be, to me, that Republic and Waste Management are having a few less difficulties than we are than with Kimball. Kimball does have a new website out now that they've been very responsive to, but it's a customer service website. So if any of you people have any kind of issues with Kimball, please either call myself or Loretta at the service garage. We email them, and they've been very good about taking care of these situations. Last few weeks was down, but then today there was two issues today. A couple guys didn't get their rubbish picked up, and there was some oil, a good bit of oil left on one of the streets. So that was addressed. We addressed that at the end of the day here today, and we'll see how they respond to that. But we have been getting decent response from Kimball. When the rubbish service contract comes up, I want to have a few more things I'd like to say about that. But that's it for now. But I just did want to say, if any of you guys have any problems with rubbish, you get any calls from people, either yourself or tell them to call the service garage or myself, and we'll take care of their issues. Also, I just wanted to mention today, there is a thing on there for the mayor to sign into a lease agreement with Enterprise. So what that's all about, it says in there up to 6 vehicles. So we leased 5 vehicles this year. I plan on replacing those same 5 vehicles next year. So far, I mean, everything's looking good with this lease contract, but it's way too early to tell. But with the problems with getting vehicles is you have to order them now at least 7 to 8 months out. And so we have to sign the contract and commit to what we're going to order now for delivery for like next March or April, whenever our current contracts expire. So that's what that legislation is on there now. And I just wanted to address that if anybody has any questions with that. That's all I have.
Okay, Ron, I was going to ask that why it's on emergency reading, but you're saying it's because if we wait till September, we'd have to wait for those trucks until 2 more months potentially.
Not even that, I have to commit. So it's kind of weird. And that's why I put on there up to 6 vehicles, because so right now I have for the Ford already has all their pricing out. And when one of the vehicles that I'm going to replace is a Ford F-250 for the service department, then I'm going to replace it with the same thing. I have to commit to that vehicle by the end of July, by July 31st. I actually have to commit to that. Now the Rams that we have or Chevys or whoever the other trucks may be, the pricing isn't even out yet. But when the pricing does come out, they want me to commit within the first week of the pricing out availability, because if they don't get it ordered right away, they may get shut out of their vehicle numbers. So that's why I did. And I didn't want to take a chance with wait until September. I would imagine everything will have to be signed before September. And I didn't want to have to call an emergency meeting or anything like that. That's why we put it on emergency.
Any questions or comments for the service director? Thank you, Ron. Building Commissioner Sack.
Thank you, Mr. Council President.
1 second, Bray. Sherry, Councilwoman Koski, do you have a question?
No, I just wanted to say to Ron, thank you very much for being so responsive. Whenever I call you, you're right on top of things. And I just want to publicly say thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Agreed.
Thank you. Building Commissioner Sack.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I just have one thing to add. The Lake Tran new park and ride facilities is about 99% completed. I'd recommend everybody to take a ride down there, how beautiful it is, the facility, what they made for us. And it's just about 100%. So it's a very nice project for us. Very nice asset for us too. Thank you.
Any questions or comments for the building commissioner? Councilman Jaworski?
Right, just to clarify something, but if residents have issues with neighbors or anybody else, for instance, on their street that has trash or garbage, or just the fact that their front yard looks really unsightly, that's something that the building department handles, correct?
That is correct. Call myself or Dino and we'll take care of it.
I like
Thank you,
that.
Ray. I appreciate that. It seems like it's becoming a bit of a more epidemic in this city.
Yeah, it is.
Councilman Bogo,
Yes, I'd like to thank Ray, working real close with me with some of the calls that I have gotten. We've pretty much gotten on top of it and trying to let the residents know that they have every right to complain about things. So thank you.
any further questions or comments for the building commissioner? You're right. Recreation Director, stop.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just want to highlight some of the upcoming summer events. We had a real nice concert in the park down at the community center. The Chardon Polka Band was down there. A real nice turnout for the first concert in the park. Everyone was very appreciative, and it was good to get out. We did have the first movie in the park got rained out. The movie guy was able to come back. It's going to be June 16th to do the first movie in the park, that's Toy Story 4. And then soon after that, 2 weeks later, we'll have the second movie in the park, The Croods, A New Age. And those pre-movie activities start at 7 o'clock. We have a DJ bounce house, food trucks will be there. And we also will be having the next concert in the park on July 20th with the car show. Pop-Tarts will be the group that will be there. We're still accepting registrations for the car show. Go to the city's website, go to the rec page, and then to the senior citizens resources. The form is there to enter the cars. And then August 17th will be the last concert in the park down at the community center. The Big Five show band will be that concert. So those are some of the upcoming events for the summer. So that's it.
Councilwoman Koski.
Clarify, you said the movie's been switched. You said the wrong month.
It was moved to July. It was moved to July 16th. Did I say June? I meant July.
Yes.
July 16th.
Okay, and also I have a question for you. That there was a resident that bought a family pass, and because she was unable to locate last year's passes, she was charged additional $10 per family member for that. I would like to know if she was purchasing, if she's purchasing brand new passes, I wouldn't think she would be charged for lost passes. I could see if it was, you know, a week or so later after she bought brand new passes, but I wouldn't think, you know, if you're buying brand new passes.
Yeah, you're not typically getting a new pass every year, so you're not necessarily paying for a new pass. You know, we have some people who have had their same pass for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Yeah, I'd have to look into that further, Councilman Koski. But
you know what I'm saying? Like, how much is a family pass right now?
It's $135.
But okay, so if I was buying one, if I just moved into the city, would the $135 include my passes?
Yes, that would include your first pass. That would include your first pass. Yes.
So I don't know. I don't know if there should be a discount if you have last year's passes, or I don't know. Just like,
yeah, we can look at that. We can look at it.
Because yeah, she was a little frustrated, and then, you know, because it is a lot of money to put out, you know, and then have that additional fee. All right, thank you.
Any further questions or comments for the Recreation Director? Councilwoman Saloto.
So I guess I just could go ahead and ask about the lifeguard situation. Do we do any better with lifeguards, or have we hired some more, or what's the situation there?
Yeah, we had a slow trickle of certified guards. You know, we offered the class, 12 people, you know, had expressed some interest, and it turned into 4, you know, guards that actually showed up and became certified. With those guards, we were able to open the lazy river. So the lazy river is now open. That it's
And no more additional guards after that. So you have a total of how many?
about 32 certified guards.
Okay, I just wanted the public to know, just
Yeah.
because I get a lot of questions and
Sure.
it's hard for me to bring this topic up again because I'm really sick of talking about it myself, knowing that it's not going to change regardless of what I say or anybody says. But I feel the need to bring it up because I have so many people asking me to bring it up. So we have 35, you said, guards?
32
guards, and we
certified.
cannot open 2 pools. Understood. Thank you.
Any further questions or comments for the Recreation Director? Councilman Jaworski.
Tim, how's the golf season been?
All's been doing really well. You know, it's been nice weather. We've been able to keep up with last year. I don't have the numbers compared to last year right in front of me, but it's been a good summer, very good summer. Last year was outstanding, and we're really on pace from last year.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Any further questions or comments? Thank you, Tim. Economic Development Manager Drake. Did I not see her? I thought I saw her on.
She was here earlier. Oh, she is
It's not working.
on.
There she is. We don't hear her.
Yeah, I see her, can't hear her.
Yeah, if you can go ahead and come back, we'll add you on to the end of the meeting. Okay, we'll move on to, I'd like to open the floor for audience participation. If anyone would like to address Wickliffe City Council or the mayor, please state your name and address for the clerk's record. Each person will have a 5-minute max amount of time. Would anyone like to address Wickliffe City Council? Mr. Liss.
Jim List, 29717 Arthur Avenue. Wanted to mention that 54 years ago, on June 19th, Bob Gindra died in Vietnam. He's the person we named Gindra Park after. And the other thing is the water in the outdoor pools is great. So the Recreation Department and the Service Department is doing a great job keeping the water quality the best around, no doubt about it. So that's all I wanted to say.
All right, thank you, Mr. Liss. Mary?
Hi, Mary Acton, 30201 Regent Road. This is for Chief Ice. Chief, you guys did a great job patrolling the streets after the shooting at Phillips. But after a week, it stopped. I'm begging you to please bring the patrols back through Truman, Roberts, Regent, Phillips. It was so nice when the traffic slowed down in this area. So will you please reconsider bringing the patrol cars back through our area again? And also, I called and left you a voicemail today.
Yeah. Mayor, I got your voicemail. Some of those concerns about the cars being parked there, there's not a violation there. If they're working on the cars, that's a violation I think the building department can address. I'm down in that area just about every day, although my car is an unmarked car, a white pickup truck. You'll see me down there. I was down there today. The patrolmen understand, the problem down there, and I'm not sure why, you haven't been seeing them down there. They don't mark it on their duty sheets or anything, but they certainly make a concerted effort to be down there because we know that's where there's some problems at. And also, again, it's a couple houses on Regent that we keep an eye on also. But I will certainly mention it again to try to be a little bit more visible down there.
I appreciate it, Chief. I really do. Because we saw a couple things happening today. I made Joe aware of it. Joe and I had a long discussion. And I just don't want it to start up again. That house, we just don't want another incident.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's living there now.
The same people.
Well, the one fellow's now, he's in jail.
Well, no, but, Tyler's in jail, but the same people are coming back. We watch them come and go.
Well, I'll mention it, but unfortunately, the two of the people that were involved in both those incidents, Caitlin, I don't have her last name handy, and then the father, Gates.
Michael, yeah.
So he was shot and he got treated at the hospital. He's out of the hospital. And this past Tuesday, our detective bureau arrested both of them for trafficking in heroin and possession of drug paraphernalia. So, I mean, I know it doesn't give you any comfort, but that just it gives you an idea of the mindset of what we're dealing with.
Yeah,
This guy's just out of the hospital for a week and he's already back at it.
I'm sure.
But during our conversations, I can tell during our conversations with him, he has to stay in the Cleveland area for some kind of treatment for his injuries. But he indicates that when that's done, which should be like 6 weeks, he's moving to Hawaii or back to Hawaii. So wait and see if that actually happens.
Okay, well, I appreciate anything you can do for us in this neighborhood because we got a lot of new families here with young kids. And the good thing is I met a lot of my neighbors during this because I'm working at home now. And I'd like to keep the neighborhood that we have going here, and it's a strong neighborhood. So
I agree with you 100%. We want everybody to feel safe and comfortable in our neighborhoods.
all right, thank you, Chief.
Councilman Sakis, you had something to say?
Yeah, it seems like it's a family business going on down there, but there's more than one house on Regent and Phillips that I get made aware of. I made the detective aware, but yeah, Chief, really appreciate if they can, try to show more of a police presence. It seems like that seems to maybe calm things down. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, would anyone else like to address Wickliffe City Council? Would anyone else like to address Wickliffe City Council? If not, I'll mark audience participation closed. Ms. Drake, Economic Development Drake, are you available to talk now?
Yes, Council President, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. I apologize about that, and I was having computer problems earlier. So if I repeat anything that Mayor Barbish had mentioned, I apologize. I just didn't fully hear everything. So last week I was out of town, so I am catching back up and gearing back up, returning calls, assisting people who are looking for potentially investing in the city or renting commercial space in the city. I've talked to quite a few people today and week before I left on vacation. Also, I received a text from the contact at University Hospital who is looking to put the doctor into the community center and ask about the lease. I informed her that our law director had been out of town and that now that he's back, he'll be able to move forward with that. I am very much looking forward to the initial Euclid Avenue redevelopment planning steering committee meeting that's going to take place with MS Consultants tomorrow. They have developed they've been developing a website and which will be sharing the planning information as it's developed and becomes available. And this is one of the things that'll be potentially, or they're planning on reviewing tomorrow, just so people are aware, because this is a council meeting and we want our residents to know. The website will be www.weplanwickliffe.com. And just to review some of our community events, the dates for those, the first one is what they call a pop-up planning, which they'd like to connect with the community, will be July 20th at the car show at the community center. The second one will be on July 30th at the movie night. And then the third one will be a planning community meeting on August 3rd at the community center. And that will be the third one they're holding. So I just wanted our community to be aware of that. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments for the Economic Development Manager? Councilman Sakis.
Hi, Monica. All right, so I received a call actually earlier this afternoon, and a resident was wondering who lives on the north end of 300 Street. I guess, so Premier has purchased some property on 300 Street. Now, so they're looking to do something in that parking lot area of, on Warden Road, other side of the road from, Premier's buildings. So they purchased some land on 300th, and she just wanted to know, like, what's that, because that's zone residential. So do they just want it empty there? So if they build something, there's nothing behind it. She was curious.
At this point, they don't have definitive plans about that. Yes, they have purchased a couple or some property there. And it does abut their commercial property on Warden. The Warden property parking lot is zone commercial manufacturing. So, and they're very well aware that those parcels are zone residential.
Okay. Yeah.
But there's nothing definitive,
Yeah. Okay.
nothing that we could speak to at this time.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
And Joe, on that topic, if those folks or you hear of any other folks on that street that do want to entertain a conversation with Premier Development, please let me know and I'll connect those folks.
Any further questions or comments for the Economic Development Manager? Okay, thank you, Monica. Committee reports. I will add, per the mayor's request, the Johnson Estates sidewalks, which will include Serenity, Cabin, and Clark, and Johnson Street, and the Silver Street sidewalks to both the committee of the whole, both of those items. Any other committee reports? Any commission reports? No old business. Move on to new business A, garbage contract. Mayor, do you want to start? Or you just?
Sure. Yeah. Again, I don't think any of us, well, I guess you, Jaworski, and Koski were the last time you put this out to bid. I'm not sure when this started. We just did a short revision 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the portion that involved the city paying for delinquent resident bills. So that was the only aspect we changed. So I'd like council to, have a short discussion on what we want to see, some parameters, put this out to bid. I'm not sure how much time we need to receive quotes back, but then we could be ready to have a conversation in September and review the bids.
Well, just for clarification, I don't believe the last contract was a bid out contract. I believe it was given to one customer without, or offered to one customer without a bid contract on it.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
I guess my suggestion would be, let's figure out the average length of what most other cities use. I think the length of our current contract, I think some of it was to get a better price point, but sometimes the length of contracts are too long. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's what I want to discuss right now is, should we ask for a 3-year and a 6-year? I mean, we can ask for, I'd like to let's take 5 minutes and set some parameters, have whatever interested companies submit a bid over the next month and a half, then we can come back in September rather than, unless you're gonna call a committee meeting next week. I mean,
No, I agree. I don't know what the average contract is. So if we can figure out I think 5 years might be a good amount, because the shorter the contract, the higher the price point will probably be.
Yeah.
They want security and they'll probably give us better prices the longer the contract, but I don't want it too long of a contract. I also think we can have bid options. Option A would be what we currently have, which is pickup of garbage, recycling, and yard waste every week. Option B could be garbage and recycling every week and yard waste every other week. Option C could be garbage and yard waste every week, recycling every other week. And option D, just garbage pickup every week and then recycling and yard waste every other week. I really think garbage needs to be picked up every single week. I think the other two could potentially be moved to every other week, but garbage I don't think is an option. But so we can, based on those bids, we can decide what option is best to what company. So having multiple options on that bid process is probably the best way to go.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea.
Councilman Garrett's team.
Director Strouser was talking about this earlier. Did he happen to know what the cities are using for the length of their bids when he talked to them?
I did talk, most people are either 3 or 5 year contracts, I believe. I talked with, what I wanted to say was I talked with the the guy who's in charge of it for waste management and in charge of the bidding process for waste management. And he informed me, he said that if we're looking to make any kind of a switch to a different company, he said it needs to be done sooner than later. He said they recommend 6 months ahead of time, because if we go with the same sort of a deal and waste management was to get it, he said, you know, you're looking at ordering 15,000 garbage cans, you know, he said, because there's, you know, approximately 5,000, you know, would that have garbage cans times 3 cans. You know, he said, you can't just click your fingers and get those. He said, you need a good 90 days to 120 days to order that kind of stuff. He said, you know, the sooner the better, if we have any intention of switching contracts. He's actually going to come in and meet with me next week sometime. He didn't give me a day. He just said sometime after the 4th. And when he does, I'll ask him, you know, if you guys have some questions you want me to ask him, I'll certainly do that. So if you want to just, you know, email me or, you know, call me, whatever.
Council President.
You still have the floor, Mr. Gerstein.
Can you add that to your options, a 3-year versus a 5-year with the same thing that you said? And I agree with you. Garbage needs to be picked up every week. If you want to play with the recyclables, that's one thing, but I don't think the residents are going to go for their garbage being picked every other week.
I was thinking of maybe the elderly folks that don't put something out every single week. I know there's options for bags, so maybe a replacement for the bags, but that's where I was going with that.
Anything else? Any other?
No, I could just say, obviously, you know, if you are planning on switching, the cost of, you know, the cans would be much easier spread out among a new company over a 5-year period, you know, I mean, because there's a huge outlay for the initial cost for the, you know, for the rubbish cans themselves. So that's all. That's what I was saying.
Agreed. I mean, we're not planning on switching. We're sending out the bids to see who is the best bid. That's not the plan to switch, but understand. Completely understand what you're saying. If we do switch, we need to give that the bid winner an ample amount of time to make the adjustments and changes.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments? Councilman Gerstein?
If it's okay, Council President, I wouldn't mind working with Director Strouser, and we could work up some of those options and send you an email. Ron, you said you had a meeting next week.
He expressed interest that he was going to stop by and, you know, introduce himself and, you know,
Well, I just know we could work on a couple of the options like President Levon mentioned.
I have it all laid out in a Word document. You guys can just, I can email it out and transfer it right to whoever is going to be planning on sending this out.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know how much I'm going to get involved, but I mean, I'm more than willing to do my share.
I'll shoot the email of with the options I had, what I stated, out to everybody after this meeting. Any other comments or concerns? Maybe you're good with that direction, or do you think there's more that we want to discuss?
No, that'd be good. Just wanted to have a short discussion, get you guys feedback and send it out. Like you said, we don't necessarily want to switch, but the numbers are going to dictate that decision.
Correct. Okay, thank you. I'll move on to ordinances.
Ordinance number 2021-24, an ordinance amending chapter 505.20, animals and fowl of the codified ordinances of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio, third reading.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerstein, seconded by Councilman Sakis to adopt ordinance 2021-24 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Hosky,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Saloto,
Yes.
Ordinance number 2021-25, an ordinance amending chapter 955.02, municipal swimming pools of the codified ordinances of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio, third reading.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Jaworski, seconded by Councilman Bogo to adopt ordinance 2021-25 as presented. Discussion? Councilman Gerstein.
Council President, this ordinance reads that the pool hours will be set by the recreation director, agreed on the mayor and council. This only ordinance is only here because of ordinance 2020-20 that passed that stated that the pools had to be open. This ordinance shouldn't be written this way because council has nothing to say about the way the pool runs. This ordinance should read, the pool hours will be set by the mayor, and that is it. The council and the recreation director shouldn't be mentioned. So I'm voting no because the way it's written doesn't mean a thing.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Mayor Barbich, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, just that was the point in the first place. We should have just not bothered with it and don't try to legislate administrative
Well-
functions. And I agree with you, we could change the ordinance to correct it that way, but don't try to pass ordinances telling the administrators what they have to do going forward. 'Cause
We're in
it's-
violation of the ordinance now for the last month.
Agreed.
2020 said we had to have the pool open June 5th. So,
Agreed.
I mean, doesn't matter what we say. I mean, the ordinance, the way it's written, is worth nothing. You shouldn't say the council on the ordinance. It just should say the mayor.
Further discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
No.
Gerhardstein,
No.
Jaworski,
No.
Koski,
No.
Levon,
No.
Sakis,
No.
Saloto.
No.
Ordinance number 2021-26, an ordinance providing for the submission to the electorate of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio, a proposal to amend the charter of said city by amending Article 11, Initiative, Referendum, and Recall, Section 3, Mandatory Zoning Referendum, third reading.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerardstein, seconded by Councilman Sakis to adopt ordinance 2021-26 as presented. Discussion? Councilman Jaworski. Matt, you're still muted.
Sorry about that. My keyboard got stuck. Just wanted to reiterate my point, and it's been a long-standing view that I've had that we should not be messing with the way that we currently do our zoning here. Should come as no surprise to anyone, really. Developers will come and go. They may construct a building or two, then move on with the project somewhere else. But it's the building, it's the zoning that's going to stay around. It's going to stay around for a while unless something changes. It's the developers who want to make the money in their property to rent it or sell it. And for the most part, these developers, they don't care about the residents. Their only concern is to turn a parcel of land into a profit. It's the residents who have to live with the buildings and the businesses that come into Wickliffe, be it good or bad. And as a member of council, I work for the residents, not for any developers. You know, I think the city's happy, and we've shown in the past that we're willing to work with developers who want to work with us. Look, everybody here wants to see the city grow. But I think what we need is developers who are responsible, who want to come in and work with the city, not just bully their way around and try to get something done, as with this zoning change. To me, if we pass this, then what we're saying is we're willing to take away the residents' vote, and I'm not willing to do that. The way that the city's zoning has been set up for a while now came about because the city betrayed the residents. And the residents are now the ones with the final vote on the zoning. And to me, I don't think that, especially since every single zoning change that's come to the residents has passed, there really is no need to change this at this point in time.
Well, then I think you just talked yourself back into it though, Matt. I think that if every single one has passed, then why are we wasting both the planning person or the person that's buying it or the developer's time and the residents' time to vote on it if they considerably pass every single time, one. And two, we're not changing the zoning on this ordinance. This ordinance just asks the residents to vote whether they or not they want to continue to vote on referendum zoning. That's all it asks. So I think that thinking this ordinance changes the zoning, it does not. I think it does it, it allows the residents to make that ultimate decision again. There's nothing wrong with asking them 45, 50 years later if they're still willing to do this, if that's the best way to do it. I think there are plenty of new residents that think it's archaic, but I wanted to know if the majority of the residents think that way. So I think that's why I'm for putting it out to the residents to vote. It's nothing hurts the residents to vote on whether or not they still think that we should keep it this way. Mayor Barbish.
Councilman Jaworski, you are so far out of line and off base. I just want to, one of the comments you made, quote, "This would take the residents' vote away." That's what you would be doing by voting no. Voting yes would be allowing them to vote if they want to make this decision. To say that these developers will bully their way around when you're talking about the folks, let's say from Premier Development that Monica and I have phone calls with every month on a monthly basis. They are extremely professional. They manage, I don't know, 500,000 square feet around the state. They do an amazing job. How about the folks at the Tapestry? I don't know if anyone in this council was at the ribbon cutting event where the CEO said, well, once I saw there was referendum zoning, I almost said, let's forget about Wickliffe. This is helping. I don't know what developers you're talking about or what even experience you have with developers or where you're getting this nonsense that you just rambled on with for 3 or 4 minutes, but you are so far out of line and off base and out of touch with what this community needs. It's ridiculous. Thank you.
Councilwoman Saloto. Maria, you're on mute, Maria.
Sorry, I was unmuting somebody else's picture. Sorry about that. Anyway, Matt, I don't think you're off base. And you've been around long enough to see some of the things that have happened in the past. And you probably have heard why we have this type of referendum zoning right now. There were reasons behind that. And at that point, the voters did not have the ability to stop crazy zoning changes. And so that's why this came about. And that's why it was put into effect. So I understand what you're trying to say. You want the residents to always have the ability to vote on a major zoning change that might occur or might be brought to the city for a particular reason. I understand that. And I totally agree with your position because I too remember some crazy things that have happened in the city and no one in the city was able to do anything about it because we had an administration, not unlike a very strong administration we have right now with strong beliefs and, desires about how things should be. And there was nothing that the voters could do to stop certain things. So I agree with the reason this was put into place. At the same time, I think that the city of Wickliffe citizens are smart enough and concerned enough and engaged enough to look at the ballot, and hopefully we're going to spell this out clearly for everyone and not try to use any kind of crazy language. I want this to be very clear cut when it comes to what we're trying to do or what this is going to mean, what the vote's going to mean. But maybe because this is continually talked about, and I think we should let the city decide whether they want to turn this referendum zoning over. And I believe that the citizens are smart enough to want to keep that voting right. But, maybe, again, it's really not up to us to decide anymore. And I think we should just let, the city decide what they would like to do with this issue. And I've come a long way back and forth about this until finally I realized that, hey, I believe in our citizens and they have the right to decide, how they want things to go forward. From this point.
I just want to say something real quick. Councilman Jaworski, I know we're differing an opinion on this, but I don't believe you're out of line, off base, or your opinion is ridiculous. Councilman Gerritsen.
No, Councilman Jaworski, I respect your views. And the only person out of line was the mayor for saying that. You're allowed to have your views. That's what makes this council good, that everybody comes here with a different view. But being out of line is he was out of line for saying that to you. But again, we are just merely asking the voters to make the decision on referendum zone. Thank you.
Let's make sure they understand what they're voting, exactly what they're voting for or against.
Councilman Bogo.
I'd like to make a short comment. Back in 77 or 78, I actually voted for that. Our city needed that for where the people felt they had control. As I see it now, we have a commission that overlooks everything and advises us and keeps us abreast of this. I know what the mayor is trying to say in the fact that it's hindering us from being competitive with other cities because the other cities are going. All we're doing with this is bringing it to the table again for a lot of discussion. And both Matt, myself, and everybody else will be talking with our people. And the people are going to have to make a decision. It really is left up to the people. So I am going to vote for this, and I think it's just going to be a good thing for the city to talk about it and go from there, and we'll do what the people will. That's all I have to say.
Councilman Sakis?
Yeah, again, all this is letting the voters, hit the refresh button. What, 40, 50 years since it's been, and that's all. It's not taking anything away. And if referendum zoning was to go away, the process to go through it is, the Planning Commission did a great job of going over that and spending a lot of hours on what the process would be. So nothing's going to slip by anything regardless. And it still have to be a public hearing and go through council. So again, this is for the residents to decide to hit the refresh button and do away with something or keep it if they're happy with that. So I do believe it includes the residents big time.
Any further discussion? Law Director Zealy, just to confirm, because this is a charter amendment, it needs 5 of 7 votes for passing, affirmative votes for it to pass.
Right, of all five members of all members elected to council.
Okay, so 5 of 7.
So it needs 5 tonight to pass.
Correct, okay. Any other further discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
No.
Koski,
No.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Saloto.
Maria, you're on mute.
Maria, you're on mute.
Sorry, my button's sticking to yes.
All right.
So that passes.
Ordinance number 2021-30, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio to enter into a contract with Civica North America, Inc., DBA Civica, for the provision of computer software for the city's Department of Finance and declaring an emergency. Second reading. Ordinance number 2021-31, an ordinance providing appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio for the period beginning January 1st, 2021 and ending December 31st, 2021 and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Bogo, second by Councilman Gerhardstein to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2021-31 on third and final reading. Discussion? Councilman Jaworski.
Could the finance director just please tell the audience what we were actually voting on?
Certainly. This is the addition of the $20,000 for erosion control deposits. And there subsequently will be an increase in the general fund revenue of $20,000 for those deposits. So it's a zero net effect on our budget.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Koski,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Sakis, second by Councilman Gerhardstein to adopt ordinance 2021-31 as presented. Discussion? Please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Koski,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2021-32, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio to enter into a lease agreement with Enterprise FM Trust for the lease of certain city vehicles for use by various departments of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Kosky, second by Councilman Sakis, to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2021-32 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Kosky,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Saloto,
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
By Councilman Bogo, second by Councilwoman Saloto, to adopt ordinance 2021-32 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Kosky,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Saloto,
Yes.
Resolution number 2021-05, a resolution adopting the tax budget of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2022, and submitting same to the auditor of Lake County, Ohio. Third reading.
Adoption.
Second.
Suspension. All
Oh,
right.
it's third reading.
Oh,
Right. Moved by Councilman Bogo, second by Councilman Gerhardstein, to adopt resolution 2021-5 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yeah.
Kosky,
Yes.
Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Saloto,
Yes.
Other legislation? Miscellaneous? Councilman Jaworski.
Mr. Council President, I just want to thank all the residents for sticking with us for the last, I don't know, year and a half or so as we were doing these Zoom meetings. I realized that they were a little bit convenient in the sense where you didn't have to leave your home. But on the other hand, it's nowhere near the same as being in person up at City Hall and council chambers. And I look forward to seeing as many people as possible at our very first meeting in September when we get back to our regular meetings up at City Hall.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further miscellaneous?
Are we going to schedule any committee meetings?
For the summer, or whether, do we have anything ready to talk about?
Well, we don't got to schedule them for next week. I mean, we can get it on the calendar for September. I don't know.
Well, the first Monday in September, we can schedule meetings for mid-September as soon as we get back, but the first Monday in September is Labor Day. Like, for instance, the Johnson Estates and the Silver Street Estates, we need Pete to work up the numbers before we even consider that. And once he has those numbers, maybe we can call those committee meetings at our special council meeting in July, if he has those numbers.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, just for instance. Any other miscellaneous? Adjournment?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Bogo, second by Councilman Sakis, to adjourn the meeting. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bogo,
Yes.
Gerhardstein,
Yes.
Jaworski,
Yes.
Kosky.
She's frozen again.
Okay, Levon,
Yes.
Sakis,
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.